Welcome, welcome, and welcome. As you can see, we are live, we are live, and we dearly and gladly want to welcome you. We hope all of you are doing quarantine well, as I am, and as my guest as well. My partner, Mr. Denejan, is also doing quarantine well, and we are happy to be here to talk about something so very important. I am of the opinion that this is something we all need to hear. We are all Liberians, but our Muslim brothers and sisters don't have a holiday, and this is the case they have come to share with us so that we can reason together and look into our hearts and see that there is a need for them to have holidays, Islamic holidays, just as we Christians or some of us who are Christian do have holidays that we know traditionally are Christian holidays. And so this is why we are here to discuss. Folks in cyberspace, hit that share button on our behalf so that not only you, but your neighbors and friends can be part of the conversation. We are Liberians, and anything that concerns any one of us should be everybody's business. This is the business we in to provide a platform to have a conversation that will lead to national development and change. Mr. Ja, I am excited. I don't know about you.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is our special Saturday program. We are discussing Islamic holidays in Liberia. We have our colleagues here who are going to make the case for the commemoration of Islamic holidays in Liberia. And I have Mr. Vasiki Konem, who's been on this platform a couple of times. Mr. Konem, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you for the invite. I appreciate being here. For the invitation extended to me. It's great being here once again. Thanks.
We want to welcome for the first time Fatima B. Surley. Fatima, we call a friend call her Sister Fatu. Welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you so much. I'm humbled and I'm here. I hope I make a good contribution towards this topic and help us get to where we want to be, which is to have a holiday for all Muslims in Liberia.
Also, making the case for Islamic holidays in Liberia, I have Ms. Masiba Kone. Masiba, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you, Dennis. I'm very happy to be here. I look forward to the very important discussion that we are about to have, and I'm excited to see where we go with this.
I am too, and viewers, please hit that share button. Let others come in so that we can listen to our colleagues. Last but not least, us from Minnesota, we have Imam Mohammed Dukle. Imam, salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for your invitation. I am really excited to be here, and I hope we will be able to make the case, which is not even difficult to make, and also hopefully that will sink down into the hearts and minds of fellow Liberians. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Imam. I hear some noise. Is it in your background or Basiki's background? Basiki?
No, it's not here. No,
oh, okay.
Nobody in the room is locked.
It's Basiki children grew now. First, they used to be sitting on your neck when we have.
You know, I'm a big family man.
All right. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you. If you are joining us for the first time, this is Focus on Liberia. Our purpose here is to educate, to elevate, and promote all things Liberia. So this is making the case. If you we just had the holy month of Ramadan just ended, and at the end, the call for Islamic holidays in Liberia has just, the volume has just been raised at the end of this fast month. And we thought it wise that we have our colleagues here so that they share with other Liberians why they think we should have Islamic holidays in Liberia. But before we go there, you know, this is the, we have had people, but not specifically along the lines of Islam. So before we even start to discuss Islamic holidays, we want the Imam to just enlighten our viewers, what is Islam, what are some of the holidays, and why do we need holidays, and how, and just tell a little bit about Islam and what is the religion stand for, and what holidays actually mean in Islam. Why are they commemorated? Imam Dukle.
Thank you so much. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Thank you for the invitation and then also the opportunity to share with you and our audience the reason why, in fact, we are here. I want to twist the question. We are asking why. No, I want to. No, I come in. I'm going to elaborate. No,
I'll skip one step. I want to have since we are seeing you for the first time, we want to start with self-introduction. Even though I said something about you, but I want each of our panelists, especially those joining us for the first time, to say a little bit about themselves, and then I will come back to that question. So let me start with Masiba Kone. Masiba, a little bit about Masiba.
A little bit about Masiba. I am one of the daughter of the late Sheikh Kafuma Kane, and I started the Sheikh Kafuma Kane Foundation. And the main focus of the foundation is to carry on the legacy of the late Sheikh. And so, yeah, that's what I have been doing for the past year and a half. And prior to that, I worked for the state of New York. But going back to Liberia was something that I've always wanted to do. That I remember every single interview that I've ever attended, when they asked me, where do you see yourself 10 years from now? It was always to go back to Liberia and help in however small way that I can. And I'm grateful that I'm able to do that through the Sheikh's Foundation, by giving back to the community, helping underprivileged children with scholarship opportunity, because that's something, education was very important to my father. Every single person that lived in my dad's house, whether you like it or not, you had to go to school. So, and we were all brought up that way to love school. And because, I think for him, it was more like the more we educate ourselves, the more we can change what our situations are, and whatever that is to you, in case of poverty, and, more experience and just having a better life, So being that education was very important to him. And so that's one thing that the Sheikh Kafuma Kane Foundation is more focused on. And we do other activities, but my favorite is, one of my favorites is the Sheikh Foundation. So that's what I have been doing in the past year and a half.
Thank you. Let me go to the Imam. Imam Mohammed Dukle. Imam is having some. Imam. All right, let me go to Vasiki.
All right. I could say within the last 25 years, though I've done a lot of different things, which include being a veteran of the U.S. Navy, but most people know me to be a writer.
Yes, sir.
I've been a kind of activist. I've been a writer from my days in Liberia with various newspapers like Monrovia Daily News, the R newspapers, the Inquirer, the New Democrat. I used to be a freelance writer. When I came to America, it was a goal to pursue writing as a career. And since I came over here, I've published 3 books over the years. One to War for America, a collection of poems, The Land of My Father's Birth, Memoir of the Liberian Civil War, and the last book I've written is called The Love of Liberty Brought Us Together. The theme of my writing generally is to promote diversity religiously, ethnically, culturally. We found ourselves in Liberia with different ethnic groups, different religions. So it has always been my utmost responsibility to be able to talk about diversity. I'm pretty sure Brother Jai is aware of what we've been doing over the years.
Thank you. It's just for the sake of our audience, but I know Vasiki Kone. Let me go to the Imam. Imam, just a little bit about yourself, if you can hear me. Imam Dukle.
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm Imam Dukle. Before I came to the US, I actually had the privilege to serve I'm from Burma, in both houses, the House of Representatives and the Senate as well. As a matter of fact, I actually work on the act that created the central bank from national bank level, and I also work on the revenue code, the new revenue code they have in Liberia. That was before my committee. I chaired the committee on both banking and currency. And the money in circulation also, we were able to change the previous dollar, and into what we have today. And then work on all of those revenue and something. So I'm also chairperson on finance and committee on waste, means and finance in the Liberia Senate. I was the chairperson of that. I was also on a number of committees on executive, on rules and order, and so on and so forth. And that, but at the same time, prior to going there, I was imam commissioned by High Assembly of Islamic Council, for many, many years. And then also we born in the scholarly home, our fathers, everybody, and this is what they taught us. So if we are not working on the other side, we come back home. And so when I came to the United States, I saw a lot of need in our community to see how best we can put our communities together, particularly not just in Minnesota, but across the country. So what I've been doing in the last 15, 16 years is to be able to bring all of our people together. And by that I mean, not just Liberians, but all of the West African countries. So we all here pray together, and then I'm active participant when it comes to the peace and reconciliation within our organization, which is FEMOSA. I've been there for that. And so that's what I do. And then if additional questions, I can talk to you about that.
Okay, good. And when we come back, we would like to explain what an imam does and what you do in your work in Minnesota. Let me go to Fatima for some brief introduction. Fatima.
Hi, my name is Fatima Bintu Sirleaf. I'm aka Fatu Sharif. I am the granddaughter of the late Al-Haji Bamiya Sharif of Bytown Sharif Yard, the daughter of Ibrahim Sharif. I am a mother of 3. I came to the United States actually when I was 18 years old. I am working in healthcare. I was born a Muslim, so my whole life is evolved around Islamic tradition, culture, and a complete way of life. So my whole life, my job is to empower young women, promote education, promote girl power, encourage diversity. So in whatever way I'm able to impact this conversation, I will be willing and humble to do that. So as we go along,
Thank you.
I just want to be brief.
Thank you. You're very brief. And I will kick it back to my man, as soon as Sia, who's going to kickstart our discussion. Mr. Sia.
Mr. Jai, thank you. Excellent introduction by each one of you. Now I know who I'm dealing with. I will be able to have a conversation. You are all excellent people. And again, I want to say welcome to our conversation. Like I said earlier, there are holidays in Liberia, some of which we all know to be Christian holidays, but we know also there are not Muslim holiday or Islamic holiday, to put it right. And so that is why we talk to have this conversation with you, that you can make the case for the need to have Islamic holidays in Liberia. Just as Christians are Liberians, so are you, our Muslim brothers and sisters. And so, in recognition of your faith, you should have that privilege, just as we Christians are. And so, let's get the conversation started. Mr. Jad, one of the Iman Mohammed Dukle to share with us, first of all, before we go into the conversation, the whole idea of holiday as is raised in the Islamic faith. What's the essence, of it, how we be able to contribute to exercising your faith in God and also enhancing, the teaching of Muhammad. So share that with us, please.
Thank you so much. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Before I answer that question, I'm going to ask a question first. I want to twist the question. Why there shouldn't be Islamic holiday? So for those doubting Thomases, this is my question to them. Why there shouldn't be? So making the case to have Islamic holiday in Liberia. In the first place, when it comes to Muslims working in the government, we are in minority in the government. I'm not speaking to our minority level in terms of the population size. We are in minority. Those 2 days, the end of Ramadan, and then also Ibrahim's Day, each one of these days could fall on the day of working. What happens is a day that we need to give thanks to God, is a day that will glorify the Almighty, is a family day that we celebrate along with our families, our neighbors, our friends, the poor people, the needy, the downtrodden in the dust. If you are working in the government, that deprives you of exercising your belief in the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expects you to do. And so because of this, and for many other reasons, and the right to the Constitution and the right to make fundamental rights under the Constitution, we should have it. It's not something that we are asking for extraordinary thing from Liberia. It's a constitutional right that guarantees for everybody the exercise of religious freedom, the exercise of freedom of expression, which you have. Yeah, exercising right now on the this the network that you have right to express yourself. So there are many ways that one can express themselves, particularly when it comes to Islam. We believe that on many occasions than one, we've been deprived of those rights. Like you just rightfully mentioned, there are a lot of Christian holidays, a lot of them in Liberia, and we are forced to observe those things. But we are not even making comparison because Christians have it. But we should have it because it's a fundamental right. If you look at the Article 14 of the Liberian Constitution, it talks about the exercise of freedom of religion, and that the state shall have the republic shall establish no state religion. So if we have Christian holidays that are being endorsed or passed by our legislature, why there shouldn't be Islamic holiday where Muslims also can enjoy the same thing? And guess what? It is, we don't have a choice when it comes to observing those holidays. We all celebrate the holidays. So why Muslims should be denied? And so that's why we come up today to make a fundamental case, particularly in the secular state. One of the essence of fundamental, or what they call the secular constitution, is for people to have a freedom of choice. So if we had that freedom of choice, it means that one religion cannot impose its way on others. And that's why we have suffered all throughout the length and breadth of life. I'm going back to the history.
Imam,
let's go back.
Hold on, Imam. We're going to come back to the B argument. We just wanted to lay the premise about holidays in Islam. What are some of the holidays in Islam?
We have two fundamental holidays, particularly that we will wish for. There are other holidays that maybe there might be controversy if we were to introduce it. Okay, there's a holiday we call Eid al-Fitr. Eid al-Fitr comes to the end of Ramadan, meaning it's an Eid that we eat, we break our fast. It ends the Ramadan. And so that Eid is very important to us because we need to celebrate it, like I mentioned earlier, with our families. But if I'm working, I can't. I gotta go to work. What happens? I can't go there. So I could even get fired as a result of that. But the fact that I need to celebrate that with my family, I should be in a community that understands that. Number two, the day of Ibrahim, we call it Eid al-Adha, when Ibrahim was tested to sacrifice his son, even though there's a controversy here between Christianity and Islam. Christianity say it was Isaac, Islam say Ismail. And the Bible says the first son. So the question is, who is the first son? The first son is Ismail. So, but we celebrate that day. And so that is also, it's even bigger than the Eid al-Fitr. It's a big Eid for us, big festival for us. And so that also is an important day for us that one needs to work on. The third one would be, but there's a debate between Muslim scholars, community, which is the birthday of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But let's leave that one aside because it's already highly controversial between even Muslims whether or not we should celebrate it. But these 2 days were something that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Allah commanded for us to celebrate. It's a day of thanksgiving. It's a day of celebration. It's a day of sharing. It's a day of caring. It's a day of love. It's a day where actually we extend hands of generosity to the poor, to the needy, to the hard-pressed, to the downtrodden in the dust, and so on and so forth. But if I'm in...
Uh-oh. It froze right there. Let me go to Fatima Bintu Salif. Bintu, I look up the Imam, are you okay now?
I'm okay. I don't know. Let me see if I can connect from my phone.
Yeah, hold on. Don't turn it off yet.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You okay?
Let me go to Fatima. Fatima, look up the meaning of holiday. It says a holiday is a day set aside by custom or by law on which normal activities, especially business or work, including school, are suspended or reduced. As a Muslim, what is your experience celebrating these holidays in Islam, and what do they mean to you?
Well, especially the Eid al-Adha, the Abraham Day. It was the day that God asked Abraham to sacrifice his son, and Abraham went with faith. I mean, he was actually thinking God literally meant go and slaughter your son. Abraham went with the leap of faith that this is my God, what he says, I'm going to follow. And God was just testing him. And he went and he tried to sacrifice his son. And God saw how faithful he was, and God provided him with a lamb. So on that day, we killed the lamb, we shared the meat, we have a big, huge feast, and we stay with our friends and families. So that day is very important as a Muslim, where we believe that with every difficulty comes ease. We believe in Islam that God tests people all of the time. Sometimes you would pray and pray, you would ask God for things, but if you have the faith of Abraham, you always know that at the end of the day, God will meet up with whatever you are asking for. So that's the day. The second one is the Eid al-Fitr, the end of Ramadan. You fasted for, we have 12 months of the year. God only set aside 1 month for us to fast, atone our sins, ask for forgiveness, change our lives. And it's this blessed month, the month of the Quran. That was the month when the Quran was revealed unto the Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. And so when we fast that entire month, we believe, and even within that month, we do get the night of power. We call that night Laylatul Qadr, the night of power, where God descended his power on the earth. So we believe that we get all of those blessings, and we're sacrificing ourselves from sunset to sundown. We do not eat, we do not drink, we do not even swallow our own saliva, and we fast for all those days. And at the end, we want to be able to celebrate with our loved ones, our friends, and our family. And the case that I'm trying to make is not, I went to all Christian school. I went to J.J. Roberts United Methodist School. From there, I went to Cathedral High School. I spent 1 year in a Muslim Congress school. At the same time I was going to Cathedral, I went to Muslim Congress. From there, I went to Rick's Institute, and I graduated from CWA. So, of course, I went to all Christian schools. I celebrated all their holidays. The only thing, my father came to Rick's Institute and told them my daughter is a Muslim. She does not eat pork, and they were able to honor that. They were not giving me food that had pork in it. But I went to church every Sunday. I was made to go to church every Sunday. I did all of that. But we're only asking for what every human being have, the human right, which is the opportunity to live your life fully, to worship who and what you want to worship, you know, and to do the things that your heart desire. We're only asking for what everybody else asks. We're not asking for addition. We're not asking for anything special. We're only asking that on these days, those 2 days, that we're able to have a holiday where this circular nation that we're part of, everyone come together. When we're fasting, we pray for the whole country, we pray for the whole nation, we pray for our friends, we pray for our relatives. When we're celebrating Abraham Day, when we slaughter the lamb for the country, we slaughter the lamb for our friends, our families. So we're only asking for what is right, that we have the same opportunities as our Christian brothers, our Jewish brothers, our whatever the other religions are. We're asking this for the same kind of holidays that they have, so that we can celebrate.
So let me just step in a break before the others come on. And one of the fundamental reasons why that the Eid al-Fitr is very important to be celebrated. When Jesus Christ ascended, based on Islamic teachings, I'm not talking about the Bible, in the heavens, there was no communication between the heavens and the earth. It took 600 years. 600 years. So the only time the divine communication was re-established was the night of Qadr, the night of power that my daughter just mentioned. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the angel to extract the entire Quran from Lawhi Mahfuz, the preserved tablet, all the way ila Bayt al-Izzah. The house in the heaven, near the nearest heaven, is called the house of honor or power. It was there in 23 years it was coming. And that was the night that God, the Almighty, re-established divine relationship with the earth. And so that day was to be celebrated. It's that night that the worship on that night is worth more than 84 years of worship.
Yes.
It's better, more than 1,000 months of worship.
1,000.
And so when we do all of this, you don't think it's a day that one should be giving thanks to the Almighty, to celebrate it? Yep. To even dance? It's a day, of course. And that night was not just meant for those of us who enter Islam. It was meant for the whole world. Re-establishment of divine connection and relationship with the earth. Yep. It only happened that night after 600 years.
Okay. Thank you. Let me come to you, Ms. Conan. I know you have been around a little bit, and you see your friends who are Christians celebrating Christian holidays, whereas you don't get to celebrate an Islamic holiday that is sanctioned by the state that you having to be a member of. Has there been a time you felt that this is unfair, and why you have that feeling?
I think to me it's more like, you know, having the discussion right now. Mm-hmm. I think we are having it's not like there's an issue as to why we observe the holiday. I think we just never put pressure into asking for it, because this is something that we need to have. There's no like negotiation, or there's nothing to be discussed. There's nothing to be, you know, like what we are doing here, like pleading a case. There's nothing to plead. You know, Liberia is a circular state, and we all know that. So why is it that we don't have a national holiday? I think it's because our leaders never asked for that, or they never put pressure in getting it. Because if you go back to, you know, when the Civil War was going on, you know, and the Liberian Muslim Council and the Liberian churches, I think I forgot the name, but Council of
Interfaith Mediation Committee.
Right, the Council of Churches, right? So they came together because they, you know, good thing at that time, the war was not a religious war, right? But they wanted a common ground, right? Because Christian and Muslim are the largest population. So how do you know, how do we get to meet people so they go back to their community and talk to them so we can come on one table? And we all know that's where the Interfaith Religious Council, that's where that came from. Because these two organizations, you know, came together. So that right there shows you that we have a voice too, you know, and it's because we came together, these two groups came together, we got peace in Liberia.
So true.
You know?
And
Can
if I
I just interject? One point she said that the war was not a religious war. To an extent, it was, because I remember when I think it was the Gio and Mano, when I was living in Caldwell, Samuka Town at the time. When they came, they were looking for Madingos, and in the end, when they saw us spraying the mosque, they came and they were killing Muslims too. So if you consider, there was no division between Madingos and Islam at the time. If you were Madingo, you were considered to be a Muslim. If you were Muslim, you were considered to be Madingo. They didn't even care. So they were actually killing Muslims and Madingo. And
right.
That was how my grandfather, Alhaji Famia Sherry, got shot by one of them. So
right.
They did
it's
do
all
that.
Point. It's all point. That's what I'm saying. You know, in Liberia, people internalize Madingo to be Muslim. Not every Madingo are Muslim. So, but the target mostly was tribal. You know, are you Madingo? Are you Gio? Are you Crown? It was more of that than, because there are Crown people that are Muslim. There are Gio people that are Muslim. You know, so you know, it was more a tribal thing. But my you know, for me, it's just more like our elders or our leaders really never asked for this. And it just shows that the word is changing, right. You know, because right now we are asking for it. So we want it to happen during our days or our children's days. You know, growing up in Liberia, I went to Islamic school. And whenever these holidays come around, Ramadan, end of Ramadan, or the Abraham Day, we always, you know, we get like a week off of school. So I really didn't look at it like it was a problem because I'm already out of school anyway. So it really didn't bother me, you know? So, and it was that way. And I came to America and same thing, I went to high school here. Whenever it was my holiday, I didn't go to school that day. And it's not like my teacher, you know, all I had to do, tell my teacher, I can't make, if the holiday falls on a Friday, I can't come on Friday because that's my holiday. And that was it. And after graduation from college, I worked for the state. And it's in there. Religious holidays are in there. Even though it's not a national holiday, but our supervisor or our managers are encouraged to give us that day. So I never had a supervisor that would tell me, oh, and I'm speaking about America. I never had a supervisor that tell me, oh, you can't take that. All I had to do, tell them in, a day or two in advance and say, Friday is gonna be a holiday for me, and so I'm not gonna be able to come, and that was just it. So I don't know how it is for people that work in government in Liberia. I don't know if that's even an issue for their bosses. If you have to take the day off, I don't know if that's the issue. So I really can speak on that. But
thank you. Yeah. Thank you. And that's the question I want to address to Basiki and Mohammed, Imam Dukle. Thank you, Masiba, you make that point. What has been your experience going to school? Because from what, sometimes from the way the argument is being presented, it's like somebody is stopping you from actually commemorating your day, or you've been punished from driving, from working, or from going to school on those holidays because it is not a national holiday. So let me start with Basiki. What has been your experience going to school and during those holidays if you went to Christian school?
Well, I didn't go to Christian school. I went to government school throughout. I went to also, besides the government school, I went to Madrasa, Islamic school in Cyclipic, in my county. What was so interesting for us when it was whether it was Ramadan or Abraham Day, we usually used to get a day off from school, okay? And quite interestingly, when it was Abraham Day, right after the prayer day, we're going to have 7 days of festivities in Cyclipic, right in the commissioner compound. And of course, the commissioner compound being a government, environment, one would have expected that the government would say, hey, don't come here, don't cause noise around, but we'll be beating our drum and our manor and your friends who come around will be merrymaking with each other. So at that young age, I didn't really see any problem, to say, question the fact that we don't have a national holiday. I believe that at that point, if we can just have 7 days of festivity it could be Ganta, it could be Saklipi or Sanikwale, 7 days of festivity right after the big day, I didn't see any problem. But it's just that the more you grow from your youth age, becoming a man and traveling around the world, things becomes different. Okay, the difference between, I've lived in Guinea, sometimes I've lived in Ivory Coast. The difference between all those places in Liberia is that when you're in Ivory Coast, if it is Ramadan or if it is Abraham Day, it's a national proclamation on TV and radio. And people that are working for government, they don't have to go to work. So it's like in Ivory Coast, for example, because beyond Liberia, and beside America, I've spent more time in Ivory Coast than any other place. And in Ivory Coast, it's a national holiday. People don't have to go to work. People don't go to school. People stay home and have merrymaking, festivity here and there. Whereby in Liberia, our brothers and sisters that work in government, I never worked in government in Liberia. I didn't work for any company in Liberia. I started my working life in America. So I wouldn't say when I worked there, whether I was able to ask for permission from my job to go celebrate or to do anything. I didn't do that. Okay, but what I can say, having lived in Liberia and Africa, the atmosphere is different. The merrymaking for me in Saklibe as a young person was great, But as far as it being a government sanctioned program where people are told to stay home, just as it is done on Christmas Day, on other days, we don't have that in Liberia as it is in other places.
Let's Imam Dukle share his experience in the Senate and in House of Representatives. Was there a day that Abraham Day or Ramadan that there was a conflict at work because it is not a government mandated holiday? What's your experience celebrating these holidays in Liberia?
Honestly, but that kind of position, you can almost make your own holiday,
your own schedule.
Your own schedule. But some days I had to rush back because there was session. If it falls on the day of session, which was Tuesday and Thursday, it means that because since the prayer is taking place in the morning between 9 and 10, and session begins at 11, I don't have to do that. We don't have to get to the point of doing that. That's the point we are making. The fact that we have to do that forget about Christmas. It's every Sunday is a holiday. We're not asking for that. Every Sunday is a holiday. So you have how many Sundays you have in the year? 365 days. How many Sundays you have in every week?
52.
Yeah, okay, just think about that. So we are not even asking for Friday holiday. Maybe we'll get to that. But we are asking for 2 important days that we want to celebrate in our lifetime. So my niece there says something very important. Our elders in the past did not ask for it because number one, they didn't see the need for it. But it doesn't take away the right of people to ask for it now. Because since it's constitutionally based, you can exercise your fundamental rights under the Constitution at any time. And what was the reason why? If you look at the Liberian economic structure prior to the war, you understand? Prior to the war, almost all of the cab drivers, the buses in Liberia, the corner stores, Mandingos or Muslims control all those things. So we didn't even have to call for holiday. When you stop, even the other people will not go to work. When the drivers go to pray, they will not go to work. So we saw that was very dominating. You understand? So there was no need because we could impose our own holiday. But today, the reality on the ground has changed. And then also understand this. Our fathers, some of our fathers, not all of them, they didn't go to any secular school. So they didn't even know what are the rights enshrined in the Constitution. Fundamentally, they didn't know that. So, but we know, okay, we are now their vicegerent here. So, well, we know that. So all we are asking is to be able to get those days as a holiday. That's why Imam Krayi was talking about on the day of the Eid. Imam Krayi was talking about it's about time for us, because we can be part of the whole, but then you decide we get this bowl of rice, we're supposed to eat it together, but you say no, show me your hand, let me put some there. This is what's happening, and so we have to stop that. And you understand? Not only that, if all of us, you and myself, subscribe all day long, the highest cry we hear in Liberia is the lack of implementation of the law. Everybody wants the Constitution implemented. Everybody wants the laws implemented, secular laws to be implemented. But when it comes to giving other people's rights, then we have qualms. You can't have your cake and eat it. You want the Constitution to be implemented 100%. But when somebody says, okay, I have a right under this Constitution, you say, no, you can't have it. You're not supposed to have it. In fact, go to Guinea. Some people still go to Ivory Coast as if, if you look at the cultural structure in Liberia, if you cross the boundary to Ivory Coast, there are crowns, there are guilds over there. And most of them come on this side. When they come, they become Liberians easily. When you go to Guinea, it's the same. There are manners, there are pellets, there are llamas, and so on and so forth. When they cross on this side, it's not a problem. But the Mandingo man crosses, oh no, it's a foreigner. And then failing to know, I have to defend this. I want to tell you this historical something.
Yeah,
no, I want you to hear this in connection to all of this. I'm trying to make a case. I want you to get it, and then we can later. When the United States Congress sent Benjamin J.K. Anderson to Liberia after the establishment of the nation state, he went all the way before the establishment. He went all the way to Musadu. Musadu is in Guinea today. Musadu is in Guinea. But do you know at the time Benjamin Anderson went to Liberia to visit, Musadu was part of Liberia? Do you know that Ma and Danane were part of Liberia? The French encroachment, yes, the French encroachment took all of that. When he came back, what was his report to the United States Congress? His report to the United States Congress, he says that when he went to Liberia, the most formidable and fundamental group that he met in Liberia, number one, they were educated Islamically, was Mandingos, and they were involved in trade and commerce, and at the same time, agriculture. So these are the only group to fear. And why would he say that? That was a perfect observation of the existence of Mandingo Muslims in Liberia, in many areas, in Lofa,
Imam, let me stop you, because I don't want us to go in that area, because what you are doing now is you are treading the same path that people do not distinguish between Mandingo and Muslim. So I don't want us to go to the territory, the geography about, because it's clear. For me, I travel along the borders, so I know Pele, Manom, Gio, in Guinea right there. If you go on the Ivorian side, you see the Gribbles in the Taboo area, the crime, the Taï.
Yeah, I understand that. It's not me. I know one of the reasons why some people will argue, these are Mandingo people. Like when they say, they don't even distinguish between Mandingo and Muslims. And that's the reason that they have this notion. We need to clear that, and then we'll proceed.
Okay. So let's go around the room for the purpose we are here tonight to make the case as to why you want Islamic holidays celebrated, and what are those two holidays that you want celebrated, and why. Fatima, your place is getting darker and darker. Can you?
Let me put my light on.
Are you in Carwell or somewhere?
I'm in Samugata.
Well, I don't even see her. Is that a problem for me?
Yeah, I think the area is brighter now.
All right. So just for the sake of those joining us, we are discussing Islamic holidays, making the case for that. So let's go around the room for 2 minutes each to make your case why there should be Islamic holidays in Liberia. We get that started. We ask you a few questions. We open our phone lines. Let's start with Vasiki.
Well, as a matter of national equality, we promote, if we are promoting equality in the society, and you have two dominant religions in the country, of course, if you have a holiday for one of the group, one of the religions, then I believe that it is necessary to have a holiday for the other religion. All of us that grew up in Liberia, we grew up celebrating Christmas, and we actually look forward to it as well, because my mother was a businesswoman in Nima County, and Christmas season used to be a very big business season for them. So we look forward to it. All right, it has a state blessing. If you're a teacher, on that day, you don't have to go to work, you're not going to be penalized. If you are a local government administrator or working in the local government administration, you don't have to worry about going to work, not going to work on Christmas Day. But I believe if you are a Muslim anywhere in Liberia on that particular day, when you have to be celebrating your holiday, you have to go and seek for permission. And if your boss is not going to give you that permission, then it becomes a conflict of interest. Can I go to my prayer? Can I participate in the festivity, or do I have to go to work? So in order to erase that situation where you have to make a choice to go to work or to celebrate your day, I think it will be very good for us to have a national holiday so that people are not going to be faced with a situation like that. Okay, now recently I raised the issue where I talk about Guinea and and Senegal, for example. Guinea has 8% Christian population, but Christians have at least 4 national holidays in Guinea. Senegal has 4% Christian population. Christians also have 4 national holidays in Senegal. But whenever we talk about holidays in Liberia, folks are going to say, oh, there's no Christian holiday in Saudi Arabia. There's no Christian holiday in Iran. Therefore, shut your head up. You can't talk about that here. But I'm like, okay, forget about Saudi Arabia, forget about Iran. Let's talk about something within our sub-region. Okay, if 8% Christian population in Guinea can have 4 holidays in a year, then you have 4% Christian population in Senegal having 4 holidays in a year, then we in Liberia, even though we believe that our number should be more than 12%, but well, that's why the people say we are 12% in Liberia, and we cannot have one single day as a national holiday. Many of us believe that it's not fair, even though, like all of us have said here, we didn't see it as injustice back then. We didn't see it as a problem, but maybe we are a little educated today than we used to be, and we've traveled around the world to different places. You know, we live in America, some of us live in Australia, some of us live in Europe. We have different perception now. So it's like we believe that our right is not being given to us, and even though we may not blame anybody for it, like my sister said, we didn't have the consciousness before to even know that we have a right to demand. But today now, if we have, we realize that we have the right, we have right that we can put in for, and that's the reason today we're making the case. But there's 2 things here. Either we're going to have a legislator, or outside of that, we can do our own coordination among ourselves as Muslims to have a holiday, meaning that on the day of prayer, all Muslim businesses must close in observance of the day. Maybe when we do that consistently over the years, it's going to be a de facto holiday in the country.
Thank you. Let me go to Fatima. Just make the case in 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay. So why should we have holidays in Liberia? First of all, Liberians are interconnected. Now, we have diversity. We are all interconnected. We are all interrelated. I have Christians in my family. I celebrate their holidays with them. I go to church. Most of my aunties are Christian. My aunt, my mother, my auntie, my mother is a Christian. They're all Christian, and I celebrate with them. And the fact of the matter is that how can change come about? change come about when good people don't sit there, fold their arms, they speak up. We're now asking for holiday because we are aware. Like most of the speakers have said, our forefathers did not look, first of all, our forefathers did not even want to become problematic people. They did not want to be considered people that brought trouble. Because when they spoke up, they would say, oh, this one you're looking for trouble. And they would start name calling them and calling them foreigners. But most of that impacted the Liberian economy. Like my grandfather, he had houses. He was a rental agent. He rented his home, so a lot of people live in his compounds. You know, he had a lot of impact on the Liberia economy. So number two, he built a brick factory in Liberia where he contributed to most of the houses and the projects in Liberia. We're asking for something that every human being needs: God-given right to be able to pray to who you want to pray to be able to worship when you want to worship, to be able to have time for family and friends. And we're not asking for a lot. We are asking for 2 holidays. 2. Eid al-Fitr, the end of Ramadan, and Eid al-Adha. The thing is, we go with the Islamic calendar, so our holidays are usually going to change around. The world will know when it's coming. It's not exactly the same month. Those other modalities we can work in it, but we feel that we're equally Liberians. Both of my parents were born in Liberia. I am a Liberian. I was born in Liberia. We love everywhere we go. We love where we are living in the United States. We love these places, but where do we love the most? It's Liberia. That's the country we all call our home. We are only asking for inclusion. It's not, this is long overdue. I really think that it's long overdue for us to ask for holiday where we celebrate with our Lord. We're even encouraging our Christian friends to also celebrate with us. We're asking, because we do celebrate, like I said, I might not believe in what Christmas is, but I celebrate with my Christian friends. So we're only asking that all of us be given the opportunity to celebrate with our friends and our families, to be able to do those things that other Liberians are doing. That's all we're asking. Okay. And we're not asking for too much.
Thank you. Masiba, when you are making your case, tell me whether there should be something that government mandate or the people themselves, because sometimes we are secular, but sometimes we want government to step in and sometimes we don't. So make your case.
Okay, so for me, Sister Fatima actually mentioned one of my reason, inclusivity. We want to feel inclusive within the society. And we talk about religious tolerance. I mean, what's more important? If you are tolerating my religion, how hard is it for you to tolerate a day set aside specifically for me and how I go about with my festivity? If we just research have shown this, and people watching can Google that Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world. And that goes for Liberia too. I've read an article on Front Page Africa that says, even though Christians are the largest population in Liberia, but it is an 8.6% growth every year. Unlike Muslim, Islam grow by 11.3% a year. And that research has shown that in the year 2045, Muslims are going to dominate Liberia. So if someone say, oh, if we give, these people the privilege, I mean, this is something that we should have. But let's say someone is scared, for example, to say, oh, if we give them a holiday, that's going to spread the religion. That's going to happen regardless. So the people that, I don't know what's being said behind closed door. I don't know if someone is, saying, no, you can't have this. And I'm hoping that's not the case. For me, I'm just thinking like, it's never been asked for. We never enforced it. And like what my brother Vasiki said earlier, having the Muslim to close down their businesses on their house. That's already happening. So when it's Abraham Day, you go Waterside Market, for example. Last year, I was I was there for both Ramadan and Abraham Day, and it's nothing. Like, we already have that day as a holiday. I think it was just put a little more flavor to it if everybody else is home that day, just observing that day for us. Likewise, we do with the Christmas or, the Easter. Even though we don't celebrate it, but we stay home. We don't have anything else to do. So just I guess just the thought of that, let us feel as, because we are already part of the society, right? So this is just, I really don't see that as a major issue. And like I said, I don't know what being done. And like you said, if I think your question was if it should be done through the government or within ourselves. I mean, with Liberia, everything they wanted to go through the government. I mean, I would say let's go to the government. Let's hear what they got to say. I would be happy to hear a government official tell me, no, you can have this day, and tell me your reason. That's all.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
Imam Dukle, what has been the fear or what has been the problem? Why do you think anybody will don't want to have a Islam? I know that everybody made a point now, so I'm coming to you to say, but what has been the reason, or what's the fear of people who would say no, or you really never openly ask, or what has been the experiences? Why what has been the roadblocks to this?
Yeah, well, I tell you frankly, even though I wanted to make a constitutional case.
You can make that too.
Yeah, I want to make a constitutional case, then I respond to your question. The reason why we want for us to have our holiday, number one, it represents what we call equal treatment of all religious groupings in Liberia, which is the essence of our secular constitution. The essence of the secular constitution is to be able to give every individual the right to choice, to choose whatever they want to choose, and that's one. Number two, the country itself, Liberia, is a secular nation which has no official religion. Absolutely not. It doesn't have it. And number three, consistent with that principle, that fundamental principle of separation between the state and religion, the Constitution itself says that the Republic shall establish no state religion. But if we begin to grant other religious groupings, it would just be fair for you to grant Islam or Muslims in Liberia their own holidays. Just remember how many Sundays we have. If you have 57 weeks in the year, you have 57 Sundays as holiday, and we all observe that. Forget about Christmas and Easter and days that we celebrate that. And then also that represents, if we don't look at these rights fundamentally, is a discrimination against one religious group, while at the same time the church has been granted multiple holidays. And then also any preferential treatment to any one of the religious groups, it also undermines our peace, our national stability, and undermines and peaceful coexistence. Now, having said that, Muslims, let's look at our region, northwestern region. If you go to Bomi and Cape Mount, predominantly Muslim. Who do we send to the legislature? And that's the level of tolerance we have. Except me, but in most instances, all throughout, the people that we send to the legislature, the senators and representatives, they're all Christians. That's how much tolerance we have exercised over the years. So all we are asking for now, since we are very conscious of our rights, let us be given. Now, having said that, I don't want to accuse any particular individual to say that they are in denial of giving this right. I think there's a need at this time that what the Imam said, Imam Kai, it should not just be a statement in the vacuum. It should be followed by action. What we need to do, number one, is to put together our own position, outlining these constitutional rights that we have, and then present it to the legislature. And perhaps we can have a representative who can champion our cause. And then at the same time, because the way the legislative process works is to lobby, you know, even though it is our right, but we have to also make our case in front of senators and representatives that can be convinced and follow our dreams. Yes, while it is true that because of our economic strength, we could make our own holiday, but that's not what we want. We want for the Constitution or the laws of the legislature to give us that right. And so that it is not just me determining it, so that our posterity, those that will come, we are not blaming our fathers because they were not to this level in terms of sophistication, understanding the constitutionality of these rights and so on and so forth. But our posterity will judge us. What did our father then do? You know, so this is our point, that when we come there, we are making the case prior to even presenting any petition to the legislature to enact laws based on what is already obtaining. If Christians can be given holiday, we should also be given holiday. And so this is our case, and I hope and pray that some of the politicians who have altered some things before, some people even ask the Liberia should become a Christian nation. Now, going back to what Vasiki said earlier, some people say we should. Saudi Arabia does not have a Christian holiday. Number one, we are not under the Saudi constitution. Saudi Arabia, we are not citizens of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has its own constitution. We have our constitution. You cannot punish me because of Saudi. And number two, what most Liberian Christians do not understand, and perhaps even some Muslims, when the Prophet ﷺ lived in Medina, there's a constitution called Medina Constitution. Do you know some of the principles enshrined in that constitution? Number one, he met Christians and Jewish people in Medina. You know what he did? He allowed them to have their own schools. He allowed them to appoint their own leaders. Not only that, he appointed them as ambassadors to Christian nations, Christian leaders. That happened. The first Islam and a Christian and Muslim dialogue. You know where it took place? In front of the Prophet ﷺ, in his mosque. And he allowed them to pray the way they should pray. So when you're making statements, you need to know the history of Islam, where we came from and to where we are. Islam has been a religion of tolerance all throughout the nations, throughout the centuries. And so we are prepared to continue to exercise that tolerance, but at the same time demanding and asking for our rights. This is not too much to ask for. All we're saying, we all own this. Let me get my share.
Thank you. And my question about the roadblock.
Say that again.
What has been the roadblocks in having this Islamic holiday?
Well,
number one. Okay. You go ahead.
All right. I would say in two different ways. Okay, there has not been a strong coordinated effort among Muslims to really have a national holiday. Of course, you know, from time to time, somebody will come out and talk about it. Then we all keep quiet until another person talk about it. Because this debate has been, their conversation has been going on as far back as early 1990, when you have the Transitional Legislative Assembly. And Vafle Dole represented Lofa County. Vafle used to make a lot of noise in the Capitol building, calling for a Muslim prayer in session. Most of the colleagues didn't give him the opportunity to do it. So it is, I believe from there, you know, we started hearing about people wanting national Islamic holiday, okay? But unfortunately, it had dragged on up to today. Then the second aspect of the situation, what we may consider to be stumbling block, is the perception in the Liberian society that Muslims are not part of Liberian society. Basically, it's like we are second-class citizens. We don't have the right to ask for anything. If you give them this thing here, the next thing they want Sharia. So people have the whole different misconception about this whole demand for national holiday. Someone say, oh, they take the debate all the way to Nigeria, to Boko Haram. If you give them this, the next thing they want Sharia, the next thing they want to start bombing all over the place. That has been the argument of my friends, you know, Deeply and other people. James Lassa, that's been an argument for the past 4 days between they and myself. Oh, gave these Muslim people little chance. They want to be encroaching upon all of us. They want to bring Sharia and things like that.
Masiki,
yes,
we want you to make your case and forget about your friends for now. And we want you to make a strong case because I personally, hold on, I personally believe that it is only fair that in as much as Christians are Liberians and they have a Christian holiday that got the constitutional blessing, the same should be applied to our Muslim brothers and sisters so that they can also carry on their festivity on those holidays. It is only fair and it shouldn't be anything that anybody will want to debate because you believe in Christianity as your faith. And so you agree that it's a faith and that it will give you salvation. That is your right as a Liberian. The Muslim brothers and sisters also believe in Islam as a faith that will be able to take them, to eternity. So the same way you respect your religion and they respect their religion, and because of that reason, we have constitutional established holidays. The same should be applied to them. It only shows that we are equally Liberians, and anything short of that, I think, is contrary. But this is the question I want to ask you as Muslims. The fact that you have to be here making a case to have a holiday or two holidays that you are requesting for to get the blessing of the state, does it make you feel less of a Liberian? And let's start with my sister, Ms. Connor, please.
I wouldn't say that. I
Okay.
would say it make me feel less of a Liberian. And then, again, it takes me back to what I said earlier. Even though this had, because I'm not too familiar with this issue, being that I never saw this as a problem. Like I said, I went to Islamic school, so I had the holiday already. So, but now that things are changing and there's so much that needs to be done in Liberia. We all know that. There are so much issues that we are trying to fix. So why not start with the small ones? Because with this one, I felt like it's the easiest thing, and I felt like it's a good thing that we are having this conversation now, because even the Muslim community will start thinking about the fact that, hey, we need to step up and do this, even if we're not doing it for ourselves, but we got to do it for our children, because now some Liberians have the mentality of, oh, y'all go back to Guinea then if y'all want a holiday here. Again, that's just ignorance. People need to understand Madingo does not equal to Muslim. No. So just for our children and for ourselves, I think that would bring a lot of clarity too within our Liberian community, so people know that, yes, we are part of this. And whenever an argument starts, it won't be like, oh, you're a Muslim, go back to Guinea. Muslims are not from Guinea. Maybe that would educate our people too. So we can deal with the small one now and start with the bigger ones. So it doesn't make me feel less of a Liberian. It's just that we're just having a conversation now that we never had before. And even if we did had it before, we didn't put a lot of pressure in it.
Thank you.
But I feel like if we put pressure in it, we will get it.
Thank you. And Fatima, Lola, you went back to call where your light is dim again. But my question here to you is, to all of you, is Liberia has so many issues that we are still, 100 years back, like we predicted. What will celebrating an Islamic holiday do to the multiple of issues that we have in Liberia? Why are we concentrating, what is it going to change? Because it is the top issues that we are facing with in Liberia. Holiday is not one of them.
It is. I think it is.
Okay,
Mr. Ja, hold on, guys. Mr. Ja, I disagree with your question. And yes, why I disagree
can
with your
disagree with the
question.
question. You can disagree. They can answer it, or if you don't have an answer, that's fine.
Well, I just want to say it's not a good question. Why can't we ask Christian that why is your holiday doing for you? How is it important in helping develop Liberia? Why have we not asked a Christian that kind of question? So
And
I
how
don't
do
think
you
it's
know?
a good question.
So how do you know that?
Then the question would be, can we abolish Christmas holiday?
Yeah, let abolish all these Christian holidays and see, since we want development, let abolish them. So if it is good for us, it's good for the other people.
But that's not my question. I want for them to make the case because we have issues, and we have a lot of issues that we are dealing with. Is a Muslim holiday one of them? Masiba
Yes.
say yes, so let them tell me.
I think
it's
it
a
is.
very good question.
All right.
Because all the time the advocacy I see on the internet is about corruption, is about poor development, people are stealing money, and all this. I never heard holiday. Go ahead.
Oh, let me comment. By the way, nobody, no one should minimize the feeling of another person. When we talk about respecting our laws, our constitutions, we got to begin to respect our fundamental rights first under the Constitution. Because if the fundamental rights are not preserved, trust me, all of the issues talking about corruption, this, that, or development, it will not happen. Because why? It undermines the trust amongst us. And that's what we're trying to deal with. Yes, you asked earlier, there's a stumbling block in the way. There are a wrong perception about this issue. Or if we give this to the Muslim people, they are asking, why are you asking? We're not asking you to give us. All we're saying, let's exercise our rights together. So if we ask to say we are asking somebody, we can only go to the legislature to explain and exercise our right there. We ask you to give us is to minimize us. I don't feel minimized, by the way, because, by the way, all my friends, I have Muslim brothers, I have some friends among the Muslims, but all my friends are from the southeast, central Liberia. All my friends, they are all Christians. So we don't have that issue of what I don't feel minimized at all. But I believe there's a wrong perception about Islam and Muslims in Liberia, and so on and so forth. If you look at Liberian community, we all intermingle. There are intermarriages. Do you know one of my cousins was married to Toba's brother, Steve Toba?
You've been enjoying a long time.
You know that? You know that? So yeah, right here, I'm in the city here. One of my sisters, she goes to church. Her son is a mayor of here, Brooklyn Center. They go to church. So we don't have this problem. It's a wrong perception about us. We fully embrace our Christian brothers and sisters. All we're saying, this is about time for us to move on. Let us guarantee each and every one of us the rights that we have to exist, and also the fundamental principles under the Constitution to be upheld. That's all we ask for. So we are not asking to violate the law. We are actually asking to uphold the law. But like someone said, if we can't do this for Muslims, then the best one can do is to abolish all the holidays. If Abasiku wrote something the other day I was reading, why in America with great economy, they have all this money, they only have one that is the President's Day. We have J.J. Roberts, we have Tubman Day, why can't we combine all of this one day for all the presidents? Just celebrate all the presidents. You know, in America, there are some presidents that fail, but when it comes to president, we celebrate all of them. And you understand? So we are only asking for the right that has been reserved under the Constitution, and there's nothing wrong to ask for what you.
Thank you. There's nothing wrong with it, and that's why we are here, and has someone who has been part of the issues before.
Dennis, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna step out for a few minutes. I have to go pray, and I'll be back.
All right, we have our callers on the line, but I just wanted to make it clear. Yeah, you can be back. I just wanted to be clear that the question I asked, because all the issues that we've been talking about, I see people are saying, "Oh no, it's the wrong question," but you should be prepared to answer that question. That why is it you want it? Because at some point we were campaigning for the names to be changed. We say, well, why do we have all the names in Monrovia, Ashmont Street, Gurley Street? There is no indigenous representation. Sometimes we ask for our national symbols to be changed. Sometimes we ask for the capital city to be changed, the name, because it was not Monrovia before. And the consistent result we get is, what is it going to do for the country? We are talking about the economy, we are talking about corruption. So it's from that background I asked the question. Let's go to our phone lines. We have a phone number ending in 2529. You are live.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. This is George Toto. I'm calling from Pittsburgh, PA.
Josh, go ahead. Welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Yeah. Let me say thanks to the panelists. There's a very good, healthy discussion tonight when it comes to discussing religious holiday in Liberia. It's something that we support. For me, when it comes to the issue of religious holiday around the world, it's a fundamental discussion in some other countries. Most especially some of the Muslim countries I've been to. I will give an example like Egypt. I've been in Egypt. It's a highly populated Muslim country. And they have two major Christians. They have the Optic Christian and they have the regular Christian. But Christmas is given to the Optic Christian, which is for a different Christmas day. And the other Christians have been advocating for Christmas holiday. So it has been a major discussion in that part of the world. Then when it comes to Liberia, what I want for our panelists to look at, when it comes to the normal holidays in Liberia, the Christians only have one holiday in Liberia that is celebrated by national act of the legislatures, which is Christmas Day, and which we also want, at least for Muslims, to have one holiday. But the point of confusion in the advocacy of our brother on the other side is like they don't have their act together correctly. They want to request, some of them want to request for two extra holidays, like the Ramadan and the Abraham Day, and which the Christian will say to, but we have only one holiday, that which is Christmas, because Easter is now a national holiday in Liberia. It is celebrated just as Ramadan is celebrated also too. So I think they need to come together with a concrete advocacies. If they want Ramadan to be a holiday in Liberia, let it go for Ramadan. Yeah, I think they'll get the support of it. If they want for Abraham Day, let it go for Abraham Day. But if they come out and say we want 2 holidays to be given or 3 holidays to be given, or then the Christian community will say, oh no, that will not be fair to us too. They will want to increase our normal holiday too, so it will just be a complete chaos in the advocacies. That's the point I want to put across.
Thank you. And before we bring on the other callers, quickly to our panelists, if you're okay, let's bring on. I think this 267 was on drop off and it's back, so I want to allow you to come on. 7642. Your name and where you calling from?
Yeah. My name is Joshua, and I call from Philadelphia.
Your name is?
And the reason Joshua.
Oh, Joshua, go ahead. You are live.
Joshua, yeah. Okay. Thank you for the time, and this is a really great discussion because listen, right? I did not grow up in Liberia. I grew up in America, and we went to school. I did want to school in America, but I did visit Liberia, and we have been reading the news of things that's been going on with the in and around the world. We've seen things that's going on in Nigeria. We've seen things that's going on in Cameroon. We've seen things that are going on around West Africa. I got nothing against Muslims. I don't know how they're going to say, but the truth has to be said. This is my point. For Muslim asking for holiday, it's not a thing. But the thing behind it, we did not come back and ask for Sharia law.
All right, thank you.
Hello? We did not come back and ask for Sharia law and try to ask for other law. We see them killing Christians in Nigeria every day. We scared. We see this thing every day. Muslims are violent people. And we see this even in America here. Very violent people. So we will petition our lawmaker no holiday for Muslim people. If they not want it, they can move to any country they want to move, because we don't want Liberia to be the Nigeria.
Joshua.
They bring it. Yeah.
Joshua, quickly, how does having a holiday trying to Sharia and violence and all the things you are saying, just 30 seconds.
No, okay. Number one, because no. Listen, right? When you give Muslim people one chance they will take another step because we see this thing. We just look at Michigan before Donald Trump could take over. What was happening? The people were taking over the people's whole state, and now people should not make that mistake because Muslim people cannot be trusted.
Thank you.
We cannot give these people a holiday. No.
Thank you, Joshua.
Can I please respond?
Oh, really?
Okay, go ahead. Let Fatima go next. Imam, you come second.
Okay.
Imam, when you
First and
cook potato,
foremost, I
the
would
Big
like
Mac can be on there. So wait, Imam, let Fatu talk.
Okay.
First and foremost, I would like to say that I want to find out from the history of Liberia. First and foremost, when have we constituted Sharia law in the history of Muslims living in Liberia? First and foremost, we haven't. We haven't. Period. Point blank. Second of all, Liberia is already religious tolerant. We interact with our Christian friends interact with us. We intermarry. My uncle is married to a Christian woman. We interact with each other. There is no Liberian family that does not have a Muslim or a Christian in it. Period. Point blank. So for you to say that us having a holiday will not lead to Sharia law is ignorant. Seriously, let's call a spade a spade. It's just ignorant. Do your research. Don't mix culture with Islam. No, do not. What's happening in Nigeria is totally different from what's happening in other Islamic world. In Islam states that when you have harmed one person, you have destroyed all of humanity. When you've killed one person, you've killed anybody you see killing people. It's not a Muslim. Period. Anybody you see putting live bomb on themselves and destroying other people, it's not a Muslim. So please.
Thank you, and that's one reason we are having this, so as to clear out some of the misconception. So Imam Dukla wanted to respond, but in your response, please include, because one of the counter argument is if they allow if Muslims have their holiday, then other religious group will start asking for holidays too. So put that in your response as you respond to the callers.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I think that let me commend the first caller. Yes, I think he made a very, very important point for me. I think we need to get our act together. Nothing wrong with that. I like for people to be upfront and say stuff like that. The only disagreement, however, is that he can't say we only have one holiday. Even the Easter holiday is celebrated in Liberia. And just remember the Sundays. When we were growing up, and I think it's still happening in Liberia, because I've been out for some time. On Sundays, you cannot even go to the market and sell. That was enforced when we were growing up. And I have age behind me. When we were growing up, we saw that. So he can't say that. Now, coming back to the last column, you see, this is where the misconception is. He's talking about what we give them. Who are you to give us? What makes you more citizen than the rest of us? That's the problem. Always saying, let us exercise the right that we all have under the Constitution. Now, let's what is Sharia? Like in every nation, there's something they call penal code. When you do wrong, there's a punishment for it. So the penal code is a minute portion of the entire Sharia. You know what Sharia is? Sharia is saying that I should respect you as my neighbor. The Sharia is saying when my neighbor is in need of my assistance, I should give him. Sharia is saying women are not slaves. Sharia is saying that the right I have to live, you have the same right to live. The Sharia is saying don't kill an innocent person. Sharia is saying don't loot, don't steal, don't do any of this, don't do legal, don't make mischief in the land. So which part of the Sharia you don't like? The one that says when you do something, that's a penal code. It's minute portion. That's not all the Sharia there. That's not the Sharia. To the point when you give loan to your neighbor and the neighbor is unable to pay, you know what the Prophet says? It's a waive it. The Quran says waive it. Or you look at the time favorable for that person to be able to pay you. That's Sharia. So which one you're opposed to? Sharia say if you are married or somebody should not follow your wife. That's what Sharia says. Now, having said that, let's go back to Christianity. Just to counter his what he calls something. There are two things I want to say about that. One, when a woman was brought to Jesus Christ accused of having committed lewdness, what did Jesus say? Jesus said, he who had not sinned, let him cast the first stone. That's what he said, right? So if stoning was not part of the Christian doctrine, why Jesus Christ or the Jewish doctrine, why would he say that? He who had not sinned, let him cast the first stone. Because stoning was fundamental in the Jewish culture. When somebody committed lewdness or adultery, fornication, they would stone them to death. So Jesus is saying, if you have not done anything wrong before, you'll be the first to cast. Now, in history, Pope Urban, I'm not talking about Muslim Khalif. I'm not talking about Muslim Khalif. I'm not talking about Imam. I'm not talking about any Muslim scholar. Go and search the history. Pope Urban II, he sanctioned crusade that killed Muslims, Jewish, children, and anybody who refused to say, I am a Christian. And the history tells us, if you were to quantify the people that died at that time, there are over 15 million people under Christian doctrine. He was imposing his will against the rest of the world. Crusaders. This history is not chronicled by Muslim scholars. It's chronicled by Christian scholars. Not us. It's there. Go and search. But you know, like basically say, I think it's a wrong perception people have, not understanding the rights of other people. And I'm not here to take the right of Christians. I want for them to enjoy every single provision in the Constitution. But at the same time, we're not going to allow people to determine for us how the extent to which we can implement our rights.
Thank you.
We can do that. Even if we have to resort to the court at the end of the day, we can do that because the Constitution, we have three branches. We're going to lobby the legislature and the executive because fundamentally the president has to sign the law. We're going to do that. We're going to put companies together to begin to work on this.
I want to make a response to that fellow.
No, the color list is very long, so let's keep it short so that we can get few people in. And okay, is that fine?
Can I say something real quick?
All right, go ahead.
To the same color. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, because I think I just heard a little bit of that color, and I think he was saying something about please don't give it to them or don't give them what they're asking for, something in relation to that. Yeah. And, you know, when you ask the question about why do we need, you know, what is it going to mean for us? And I'm speaking in regards to the younger generation. And I think it's Islamic phobic like that we need holidays. We need a Muslim holiday in Liberia. So let them understand this is not something we are asking for. This is something we are saying it's ours. We're just asking for it now. It wasn't asked for before, or if it was, there was not a lot of pressure put behind it. And I'm hoping that the Muslim communities that are listening to this, I hope this is a wake-up call for you guys to know that, you know, we need to step up now. We need to take what's ours. So another reason that's been added to why we need that holiday is because of the Islamic phobic. Like the caller that I just called right now. People like that, we need it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, the point I want to add, let me just say this. It's like in the history of Islam in Liberia, we have never been a violent type of people. No. Only the war brought the West out of every one of us. Whether you Gio, you Grable, you Pele, the war brought the West out of every one of us. And that was because of self-defense. But generally, Muslims in Liberia are the most peaceful people. We don't bother anyone. Even before the war, when we're being harassed every day at the checkpoint, we didn't resort to violence. We didn't take our arm to say, hey, you violate our right every day. We didn't do that. We've lived within the confines of the law throughout the history of Liberia. Even when we were being abused, we didn't fight back against the state or against the perpetrator. So for someone to say, if you give them this, they're going to ask for this, they're going to bring Sharia, all these are misconceptions that's being formed by Islamophobia. And of course, when we have the holiday, it's going to be an opportunity to educate ourselves, to educate our neighbors about the peaceful coexistence that we all need in Liberia.
Thank you. And that's one reason we are having this discussion. We have William Kettle from Connecticut on the line. Mr. Kettle, you are live.
Thank you, Brother John. Let me just make two or three corrections before we move forward. I heard one of the panelists over there talking about stoning was in Christianity. Just remember, when Jesus walked the face of this earth, there was no Christianity. Christianity came after Jesus died.
I said the Jewish culture.
Yeah.
The Jewish culture. Go ahead.
So
I know that.
Christianity came, and even that was not even the Jewish culture. Remember, they had the Pharisees, the scribe and the Pharisees. So I mean, it's a whole different story there. So it's not part, and that was Jesus Christ told them, "He that have no sin cast the first stone," and they walk away. Another thing is, we have so many tribes in Liberia that practice Islam, not just Mandingo. So when people come and talk about they're attacking Mandingo because of this, no, it's not only Mandingo. Remember, we got the Va tribe. Almost 85% of the Va people are Muslim. Remember, we have the Mende. Majority of them are Muslim. Okay. We have the Loma people. Some of them are Muslim. Pele, some of them are Muslim.
Most ethnic groups. So make your point, William or Wilton.
So the point I'm trying to make here is the reason why Mandingos are sick now. The Mandingo people are sick now most of the time in Liberia is because Mandingo are formed all over West Africa, especially bordering Liberia with Guinea. So most time, the Guinean family member will come over to Liberia with all proper documentation, or because they speak the same language or dialect, they will come in and they will consider themselves Liberians. I come in now, they will consider themselves Liberians. And so after staying for so many years in Liberia, they say they are Liberians and they ask for different rights and stuff like that. But this is the point that we got to stress. When you're giving holidays to a particular religion in a country, remember that religion, the population of the people have to be significantly convincing to be able to give that religion. I remember Yahya Jammeh said in one of his interviews, he said we are Islamic State, Gambia, but we and the Christians coexist. Christmas is like a holiday in Gambia. Ramadan is a holiday. It's something in Gambia, but Christmas is a holiday because the Christians, make themselves to obey that holiday. Do the Muslims obey Ramadan on Ramadan Day in Liberia? Not so much of the case. Muslims should shut all the businesses down, go to the mosque, pray, break the fast, and just stay home for the day or do the stuff. But not all of them do it. When they finish, they will open stores and stuff. So people do not really regard it. But it's a good conversation because now when we start bringing these things to the spotlight, now we will look at, we have other religion in Liberia. I will have to say, okay, I'm a Liberian too. Why if I'm a Buddhist, but I'm a Liberian? And we're over 2,000. I can go to the legislature and say, well, I'm a Liberian. You can deprive me of a holiday, Buddhist holiday. We got to observe it. In this country, the Jewish holidays are not national
we have
holidays.
less time. We have more callers. I just want you to make your point. Are you saying if there is a Muslim holiday, is your point that Buddhists too will ask for holiday? Is that the point you're making?
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, the point is, look, sometimes we let sleeping dog life. We recognize Ramadan, let sleeping dog lives to not create, more problems in the country. Let sleeping dog life. We recognize Muslims. There are Muslims in Liberia. We got Muslim Liberians, but they are not at the number where we can start debating holiday for Muslim, holiday for Christian. Then other people start asking for holiday.
Just before you go, what should that magic number be?
Well, the people can go for a referendum. I think referendum will speak volume.
Thank you.
Yeah. So he's gone. I just wanted to tell him that, when we speak, with all due respect to the brother who just spoke, we don't make up stories. And when we speak about issues with respect to the religion, whether it is Christianity, Judaism, or Islam, we have fundamental reasons for saying that. So he disputed with me that the stoning of that, If you look at the book of what they call, they say the death of Stephen, how was it done?
Stephen was stoned. Imam, let's leave the biblical argument. Let's just concentrate on. I know people will call and they will say something.
So let me just deal with that, what he just said. So let me say to brother, it is not the number. It's not how many Muslims you have in Liberia. It is a question of recognizing the fundamental rights of everybody, like you, like me, like anybody. I understand the point you make, and I'm glad that you said that, because we have Gola Muslims, Bai Muslims, the Mendes, even the Lamas, the Bandis, the Palace, even the Crown, the Grable. I took Grable people to Hajj. I took them, and I came back carrying them to Maryland. I've done that. We took Crown people in Grand Judah, we carried them to Hajj. We went, we escorted them. In Grand Bassa, we did that. In Riverside, we did that. And so I agree with you, when you attack Islam in Liberia, you're not just attacking Madingo people, you're actually attacking all of the tribes, because today in Liberia, all the tribes are part and parcel of Islam. And so if we agree with that, in all the counties, all the 15 counties have Muslims. So why will you minimize our number? Even if it's 1%, even if it's 1%, the Constitution does not put numbers, or you have to have certain number of people before you can be recognized. The Constitution doesn't say that. So we have the required number and the right to be recognized. And so this issue, like he said, it's not a question of referendum. It's a question of going to the legislature to enact law to reflect that. So since you say the Buddhists will come to ask for holiday, or this group, we don't even have Buddhists in Liberia. We don't know of them. Let's even assume they are there. These are two cardinal religions in the country, Islam and Christianity. So all we are asking, since the Christians will have a holiday, let us also have, even if it's one day, like one of the previous speaker suggested. But these are all things that we can negotiate with the legislature.
So should there be a threshold? Say if any religion in Liberia reaches this threshold, they can have their holiday. Is that something you are open to?
Well, the fact of the matter here is that when people bring out that question about if you give Muslim people holiday, this group and that group, obviously you have two religions in the country, Christianity and Islam, and the traditional African religion. Traditional African religion is not asking for holiday.
Right.
Okay.
So Mr. Connor, here's my question. We are not doing this for only today.
No, but let's say
because just 1 minute, Imam. If we establish it today, are we saying let's have a threshold so that any religion reaching this number, they can ask for holiday?
Well, we cannot propose that, because that will require a lot of constitutional amendments. And what we are asking for, it does not require constitutional amendment, because the Constitution already established the right, the fundamental rights. So what we are asking is the legislature to enact law. They can decide to put threshold, which I don't think it is. But going back to the cultural, even the cultural traditions, do you know they have their own holiday? Like, let's talk about Plural Society. If you go in the village where they have the Plural Society in place, when they come to town, you are forced to go inside if you are not a member of the Plural Society. You cannot even go in the bush where they are, the Sunday Society, the Plural Society. So they already have their holiday. In fact, more powerful even, because they can take anybody outside, from outside, if you are not a member of the society, to go in there. They already have those rights that they are exercising, and so on and so forth. So we don't have that kind of right. We can't say, well, go to the mosque, nobody should come outside. We don't do that kind of stuff. They have that. So they have some, they cannot make holiday because they can't come to the cities and so on and so forth. Those traditional stuff. They can't come to the city. It's somehow one way or the other prohibited in their own rules and regulations to come to a big town and something like that. So what we are asking for, we are not asking for more or any extraordinary action on the part of the government of Liberia or the legislature or the people. We are only having this conversation, like you say, for people to know that now there is a reawakening call. There's a fundamental call here that opens our eyes to see, wait a minute, we all have right to this thing. Why we don't have it? So let us go.
Thank you, Iman. Mr. Jad, let's go through our caller list, and then let's give each of them a minute, and then we'll come back to our panelists. So let's go by the order here. Caller with phone number ending in 1369. Quickly, you have 1 minute. Your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Ernest C.A., and I'm I'm calling from somewhere in America. I just listened to somebody stated a question I had earlier about what if other religions come about and want to have holidays. Then he said they are not major. So I think the Imam said they are not major. The two major are Christian and then he talked about the traditional. So I want to ask, who determines what is major? And I was in Liberia. There were even Satanists. They are in Liberia. The statue of, I don't know how they call that stuff. It was displayed right in front of YMCA for days upon end. It was there for people to see. So I'll just want to know, how do you determine which religion is major and which is minor? And what if the Satanists want, or those kind of people want holidays? Will there be a restriction on them? There's no problem with having I don't think there should be any problem. Liberians is like any black people. Our minds were limited. And I listened to, there's a Muslim guy, Mark Jabate. He goes around and says stuff. And he said one thing, he said, and this could be something that the Imam and even other people could think about, that hampers Muslim and quote unquote, like the other person, they're not only Mandingos, but people just reference Muslim Mandingos, relate that to Liberia. But that during Ramadan, there are people who are not Muslims, send money to Muslims. But even during the war, the Muslim people used to get aid, but they never share it to non-Muslims. But the Catholic Relief and all the other people he talked about killing, and the Catholic Church, how the Pope killed and all those things, they sent relief and everybody had. But when relief came for the Muslims, it was only reserved for Muslims. So I think to win over people's heart, if they become more open, like the same way how non-Muslim put money together and send for Ramadan this year, if they would also do the same thing for other people during Christmas, it will make people, because our perception is bad. And I even say that even my family, I don't have problem with Muslim stuff. But like, if a competent Mandingo person, I'll use the word Mandingo, not so much Muslim, want to be president, I wouldn't have problem with it. But majority of Liberians wouldn't want that person to be, just because of how we think, and which is wrong generally. But I also want the Imam to also know that there are other smaller sects or religion group in Liberia that are not quote unquote major, and if they request, should they be denied? That would just be my question to him. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
I didn't use the word major.
Hold on, Iman. Iman, hold on, please.
Questions.
Yeah, please take notes. Please take notes. We'll come to you. William King, quickly to the issue. You have a minute.
Yes. 1 minute, please. Keep me within that. William King calling from California. I'm a member of Focus on Liberia. What I want to say is that basically that one of the things I think can be on the table is that you can have definitely la fête de Korité and Tabaski. I used to live in Senegal, and I used to love that, and I used to look forward to having some good lamb. So to my Muslim brothers and sisters in Liberia, I look forward to celebrating that holiday with every single one of you. So please, if this is something that is a formal request, sure, I definitely believe we can make it happen. And I don't think that it's going to be extreme, where we're going to have Satan worshiping sect having their own holiday. I don't think it's going to go there. And I think, we can have some of those holidays. For the gentleman that's on the panel, someone had mentioned maybe 5 holidays in Senegal for Christians. I know of 2, Easter and I know Christmas. But please help me if there are some other ones. And also, when I was living in Senegal, we celebrated Tabaski and Korité. But I know that some shops, not all the shops, some shops would be open, but the government wouldn't severely penalize any of them. So I think it's just something where it's very quiet, but definitely the whole country would shut down. I don't know in Liberia if during Christmas or Easter, if some shops are not permitted to be open at all. Thank you.
All right, well, I came that. Let's bring in this one. Caller with phone number ending in 8452 from Minnesota. Quickly, your name and where you're calling from. You have a minute.
Oh, yeah. Hello. This is Mr. Roberts. I'm calling from Minnesota.
Your name again?
How are you? Roberts. George
Go ahead,
Roberts
Robert,
from Minnesota.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Robert. You have a
I
minute.
kind of listened to you. Okay, yeah. I kind of listened to you and I listened to your panelists. I think one of the things that I got a little problem with is all of those that your panelists are all Muslim. I hope we have some of the Christians sitting there for them to go through a dialogue, which is something that, yeah. And then another thing when the guy came out and said that Muslim people bring Shahira, they kill and all of that. What I expected for you not to give that guy credence, to keep on talking and talking because those things only bring only bring division. So next time when someone comes to talk those kind of things, I set in place the ghetto, let's just let him be, understand right, and let him go because instead of discussing what we need to discuss now, they almost like discussing hatred. We don't like these people because at the end of the day, when they come in, they will destroy the country. And I don't think that's why you are about. You here to talk about issues that is important to the country. You understand me? And I think having a holiday for a Muslim, I believe that things that need to be discussed. And if there's a need, yeah, there's a need. If not, I think these are things that we need to discuss, but discuss in a very simple way that we can understand each other better. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye.
Thank you. The next person is Franklin Montgomery. Quickly.
Hello, this is Franklin Montgomery. I'm calling from Texas. How you doing?
Doing well. Congratulations.
Yes, the issue about Liberians, we are Liberians, but it's so many like deficiencies in Liberia. Like we see Muslim students coming to 7-day Adventist, going to other Christian school, learning about the Bible, this and that, but we never see like our brothers Christian going to Muslim school to learn about the religion. The religion always teach for me. I'm in the army. Sorry, I'm telling you, I'm in the army. I went Afghanistan, this and that. The reason about Sharia law or the reason about killing this and that, the people in the Middle East are quite different. The reason why when you see the people in the Middle East very angry with the American, even us who can go there because the way they put it, the way they put take over the country, the way they put treat them. But I'm discussing about that, discussing about Liberia. The other guy was talking about Boko Haram in Nigeria. The Boko Haram, the children that was taken into custody was Muslim children. 99% was Muslim children. They protect them. They see religion. The religion teaches peace, but people don't understand the religion. Islamic religion, when you mean the religion, you mean the elders in the religion, they always treat you with respect. They treat you the way they want for them to be treated. But people take the religion and get killed. They say, you kill, you go to heaven. Nothing in the religion, nothing in the Holy Quran said that. Yes, I deal with so many Muslim people who went to war together, everything. And see, so let's like when people come together and understand about the Constitution and try to say, okay, I'm off phone. And try to say, okay, here's what the people want. Because the reason is that for Nigeria, Ghana, this and that, and the reason I would tell the man job I say Muslim people need to come together. One thing is that if anybody want to vote, I'm Christian, but if anybody want to vote, tell the people, say the Standard Bearer is most Christian, get off that Standard Bearer to be Muslim, then we'll vote for you. In Nigeria, it happiness. Sierra Leone, Mother Bio is a Christian, the vice president Jado is a Muslim. And the only way people will vote, and the only way Muslim, Liberian Muslim will get their vote will put certain legislation together. You get pregnant with the children who went to school together in America, win the army, get an education, they can become representative, they can become senator, they can become president. Liberian Muslims to push this in the system so that everything will be shared fairly. Liberia is a secular state, but while I see some Christians, our brothers come in try to preach like divisions, it's very, very bad for that country. We want for that country to settle. Don't want to leave the army here. We'll be going back to Liberia to say we're going for peace again. We want for no war to happen in that country. We want for nothing to happen. I was in Cape Man during all the war. We saw what go on. They were killing people who were even Maningo because they were Muslim. It was very bad. Like mosquito. Yes, we rescue people who was Muslim. They now to speak bad because when they come, we tell them we get a bad name. They say this person is Vanish Shema. This person is Aniketu. And the only way was not killed. Thank you very much.
All right.
Have a good day.
Panelists, 2 more, and then we'll come back to you, and that will do it. Joe Moyu, you have 1 minute, quickly.
Yes, sir. Look, the people that are against a Muslim holiday, Ramadan as a holiday, those are usually the people who don't even know Liberian history. Most of the transactions in Liberia prior, when the American-Liberians first came, or even before they came, with the when the American colonization society came into Liberia, the transaction was done by King Salboso, a Mandingo chief. So that means the Mandingo have been there long since. They helped with the land transaction and all that. Now, I'm a Pan-Africanist, and the way I see it, I don't give any credit to what they call the Treaty of Berlin that took place in 1894. That's when all this craziness came with European nations coming up with borders. Africa was a borderless place. It was borderless. And let's face it, prior to missionaries coming into Liberia, prior to American-Liberians or whatever they call them, coming into Liberia, the only group there with an organized religion was basically the Islamic people, which was mostly, the Vai and the Mandingo. So nobody can logically say, and we're talking about with a rationale, that Eid al-Fitr, I think that's how they call it, or Ramadan, shouldn't be a holiday. All they will tell you is just crazy talk. Oh, they will do this, Boko Haram, or they will not come up with any coherent logic that you can put your finger on to say this is the reason why, and it makes sense. They won't do it. So they will be all over the place with crazy talk. And I've been listening, those against it, it just, there's no coherence. I think you heard the last guy, he was just all over.
Thank you.
So
Leave that guy
anybody with a sound mind who knows African history, who knows Liberian history, will never, ever say no, Ramadan shouldn't be a national holiday. Okay?
Thank you, Moyo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jal, let's take the last one, and then we'll come back to our panelists. That will be Oliver. Oliver, quickly, you have a minute.
Hello. Hello, how you doing?
Doing well.
Yeah, the religion thing that we talk about is very important. The reason why it's very important, Tech, from the time I was born in the 70s, the economic of Liberia was headed up mostly by the Muslim people. And because of that, whenever the Muslim people try to do their Ramadan, we the Christians are fighting hard to make sure that we buy our goods and the services that we can have before their Ramadan comes. Even during the regular days, when the Muslim man is praying, we have to wait until he finishes praying before we buy goods from the grocery store to make sure that we take the groceries to our home. So the problem is that of them not having the opportunity to have their holiday. I don't know, because if you look at the whole thing, when it comes to the whole situation, I was raised in some of the county, and the Muslim people celebrate. They keep their Mandingo drum and walk on the street. You know what I'm saying? They walk on the street, they celebrate their Ramadan for wherever the 7 days as the gentleman talk about, the man talk about. So, but yes, it was not something that was done in the legislature to say it has to be a Muslim holiday, but it's something that has been observed as a Muslim holiday when it comes to 7 days of Ramadan. So, what we're saying is that the opportunity of giving the brothers and sisters the religious opportunity is something that needs to be talked about in the legislature. And I'm proud to be part of this opportunity, because even though I'm a Christian, but when it comes to the Ramadan, day, I also celebrate with the brothers and sisters, and I will go on the street and dance with them and celebrate with them and all that. And I admire that because those were my youth. So I think it's important. Even in 2011, I remember visiting Liberia.
Thank you.
Both days of Abraham Day and Christian Day of prayer was that same week. Which was on Friday. and both of the brothers and sisters were praying on that particular same day of Friday. So it's better that if the brothers are opportunity, because they only occur in mostly, let's say 60 or 75% occur in the brothers and sisters owns it. Because when they Ramadan
Thank
day,
you.
there's no setting on the street. There's no stone.
Thank you, Joe. I know you like the
So
Abraham
thank you for
dip so
having me.
much because of the meat.
Yeah. Joe, thank you.
All right. Let's come to our, let's start with Fatima to make your first point. Let's be very brief, and then we read the comments from our Facebook comments, and then we can move to the next step. I think we are almost out of time.
Fatima, you on mute. You on mute.
Masiba, you can respond to our callers.
Yeah, I had two things down here. One of the caller mentioned about comparing the Muslim in Liberia to the Boko Haram in Nigeria. I mean, how are you comparing the two? These are terrorist groups. Why are you in any way connecting us? That's so wrong. And it's so embarrassing sometimes if you hear your fellow Liberians talk like that. Like, come on, man. Where on planet are you from? Why are you behaving this way? Haven't us been through a lot already?
Right.
Aren't we saying that we want to move forward and build a better Liberia for our children and their children? Because unfortunately, it seems like with his mentality, if there are people that are thinking like him in Liberia, seems like we still have a long way to go. So, and just perfect example here. He said we are violent people, right? So let's just say, for example, the school burning that just happened where they kill innocent children, about 20 plus, I believe. I'm not sure about the number, but where Muslim students were killed, and during the nighttime, you know what I'm talking about, right? The thing with the fire, where they flew and killed the children. What happened? Did you see any Muslim person protesting that? But it was clear evident that someone put that fire there, that someone killed those children.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
No, that fire did not happen by itself. Someone planted it there, right? So if we are like this chaotic people who like violence and all that stuff that this caller is talking about, did any Muslim, there was not, and that was a hurtful time for the Muslim community, but what happened? Nothing. So that's just a perfect example. We're not going back to 1962. We're saying right now, this just happened in 2019. So what are you talking about? And then he mentioned another thing about, I don't know if it was the same caller or a different caller, about the Catholic group, like when they get donations and stuff, reliefs and stuff, they give it out to everyone. But unlike Muslim, they only target the Muslim community. That's not true. Like, if you're gonna say an argument, make sure let it be fact, but don't just come on here and just run big mouth on something that you really have no idea about. Because I remember my dad used to get some of those reliefs, and I remember how everyone within that community used to benefit from it. Even sometime during Ramadan, we would get dates. The dates that you eat, we would get that. And people that are not Muslim used to come and they would get some. So maybe the reliefs that the Catholic organizations that he's talking about, I don't think there are organizations, the Muslim organizations were getting the same thing. So they're not the same, but whatever that used to be there, he don't have any idea about that. But I'm glad that most of the callers also agree that, they see why we need this holiday. So that actually makes me happy, because it seems like more people are for it than against it. So we're on a good track.
And then you are responding more to those that are against it than those that are for it.
No, but I came back. Back to So that I guess that's just a human mentality. You always look for the negative one first, and then you come back to the positive. But the positive is like we're on the same team. So it's like, okay, my brother, we understand each other. So that's a good thing.
So we
but
can still
I had to address the negative too.
So we can still reinforce the positive. But
Yeah. So the positive is good. You know,
right.
like I said, they understand what we are talking about. And these are the kind of Liberian that we all should be proud of.
Right. And I want to remind all of you, which you already know, is this is among the first time that this has been brought into an open conversation like this.
Right.
So most of the feelings that people have had in there, I want you to be very patient to respond to their questions. And you made a very good point, Masiba, when you said having this holiday will help to bridge that gap, because most of the things are born out of misconception because people just don't know. Anytime there is an information gap, nobody wants to appear dumb. So you fill in those gaps, right?
Yeah.
To make the point. So people are going to make their points. You making this case now have to be a little more tolerant and understanding of where they're coming from, so that you use this opportunity to not only educate, but also inform.
Yeah. It just
of course, I think that is a very good point.
People.
And I'm very, very happy. I'm encouraged that majority of the callers on the show tonight have been very positive, just like we are positive. That is quite different from the battle we've been having on social media for the past few days. So I think coming here tonight, if anything, I would just come out of here with complete satisfaction and happiness that most of my Christian Liberian brothers and sisters understand the situation as we understand it. Do not hold us accountable based on phobia, based on what happened in other places. Like I said earlier, Liberian Muslims are the most peaceful. And like my sister just said, last year, when there was let's say a fire incident in some place around Monrovia, where 27 children were killed, burned alive. You did not hear Muslim people going on any revenge. We didn't say we're going to kill this person, kill that person because you want to kill Muslim people in the place there, you know? So that just shows the nature of Muslims in Liberia. We are not violent type of people, and we don't have any desire to impose anything on anyone in the Liberian society, you know? So I'm very happy that a lot of other people understand the situation as it is.
Let me read a few comments from Facebook. And okay, Fatima, go ahead.
I know. So I've been listening to the callers, and what I kind of got out of all of these callers was that I'm encouraged, you know, the negative, the positive, I'm encouraged. The fact is that the conversation is being held. I'm truly happy that you guys give us this platform to just verbalize how we feel about a holiday in Liberia for Muslims. And this is the first attempt to create an awareness. If our friends did not know how we were thinking or feeling, this is the opportunity for us to create an awareness. And I'm encouraged by the open-mindedness of most of the callers. Regardless, Muslims, Christians in Liberia, we have to coexist. We are coexisting, you know? So I'm truly encouraged by how it's going, how, you know, the conversation is being had, how we're all gonna sit one day and celebrate this holiday that we are asking for. We're only asking for two. And I would be encouraged if we get both. We're asking for only Abraham Day and Eid al-Fitr at the end of Ramadan. So we're really encouraged. I see, I mean, I'm not deterred. I'm not angry about any of the things the caller said. First of all, this program is to create, like I said, an awareness, to educate people about what Islam is. First of all, I was actually, in my closing, I wanted to just explain a little about what Islam, what the religion Islam is, what it stands for, and what this conversation that we're having, we're hoping will bring, you know. So I will actually say that in my closing.
All right, let me read a few comments from Facebook. Mr. Sia, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, read few comments, and then Iman Dukle will respond to those comments. And then
right.
close, yeah.
Josh Joki Sologba say, move back to Guinea, no holiday, yeah, in Liberia.
Okay, I'm packing my stuff. I'm coming go.
No problem.
Fatima Fofana, it was a problem for us that went to Christian schools because they will set up tests on those days, meaning those days that they are having. I went to a Christian school, Monrovia College, with my man Lasana and Mohammed, and I don't think that was the case, but people's experiences are different. Sheikh Suarez said, that is not a good question, my brother. We are looking for unite. Maybe based on the question that I asked, but I stand by that. Tipos Dempster, if all religious groups start having holidays in Liberia, no day will be left for people to work. Sandra Yankun say, I think this topic is very sensitive due to the fact that Liberia was founded on Christian doctrines. She has been observing Easter and Christmas, which is a universal holiday. Besides, the national prayers and Thanksgiving holidays, which I think that Muslims also observe, are there for any other holidays that Liberia observe. Franklin, you already called, so I'm going to skip that and go to Adia Umo. I know a family where both their parents are Muslim, but all of their children are Christians and they go to church. Even one of them is a pastor. So I think the Muslims should have one holiday given to them. That we still have okay, Joshua doesn't have some good word. Last comment that I will read here. No, not the last. In Liberia, we all agree that all men are created equally, but Muslims are not enjoying those equal rights. I disagree with that. Dave just said maybe it is the lack of tolerance that often results into chaos. So those who are thinking that having Muslim holidays is going to bring chaos, Dave is saying instead it is the lack of tolerance. So he's asking now that you got to have some key people to contact to put forth a bill and make the case. You know, I want them to identify some influential legislators, meaning the Muslim community, that can make a compelling case, since such can be done through legislation. All right, so that will be it for those comments. Back to you, Mr. C. Oh, you wanted the Imam to respond?
Yeah, let the Imam respond to those, and then we will go around the room for their closing statement.
And Imam, we may have the opportunity to bring you back so you don't have to do all your teaching here tonight.
No, I'm not even going to talk about, that's something that we need to do because really one of the comments, Eva, I wanted to make, somebody said Muslims go to Christian schools, or Christians don't go to Muslim schools. And so as a result of that, I think most of the comments, particularly the negative ones, is coming out of pure ignorance. You know, when you don't know, you know, there's always, let me give the excuse. There's always this concept of fear the unknown. When you don't know something, you fear it. But given our relationship in Liberia, we've been there for all this time. We've not caused any trouble for anybody. Having said that, I just wanted to respond to the guy said, we said major religion. We are not even saying that. But he said that. But let's assume we all said it. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is a global agreement that there are 3 fundamental religions in the world and 2 most fundamental. Do you know what the percentage of Muslims in the world? We are about 24% of the world population. That means 1.8 billion Muslims in the world. That's fundamental. And not only that, the population census is predicting that between 2015 and 2060, there will be Muslim growth in the world about 70%. And Christians will grow 30%. Jewish will grow 15%. So 1.8 billion people around the world. How many of that? Less than 1%, less than 0.5% that is causing this problem. If 1.8 billion people were to be Boko Haram or ISIS, nobody will see peace in the world. But majority of Muslims are against the actions of those people. So we are not Boko Haram, we are not ISIS, we are not Taliban, we are not any of that. We are not any of that. We are, in fact, majority of the victims of these groups are Muslim in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in other areas, in Iran, everywhere. The majority of the people that are dying from the hands of these terrorists, Muslims. And so, but I'm glad that tonight, for the first time, for me to see so much of positive statements coming from our own Christian brothers and sisters. I'm very glad that I think if we really pursue this, we can achieve the desired goal.
Imam,
now, also, I want to respond to a brother who said,
before you respond, because people keep making the assumption that when you are not Christian, you are Muslim. When you're not Muslim, you are Christian. So you keep saying that those that are making the comment are Christian brothers. They may not be. I just want to throw in that.
Okay, fine, because the way they spoke, so we said we are the Christians. There was some most of them said that. That's why we responded.
All right.
Let's say our brothers or sisters, whatever they say, Liberian brothers and sisters.
Yeah, they are
Liberians.
Liberians.
Very positive. We have some distractors, but that's okay. In democracy, we tolerate people's view. You know, they might not be right, but they have right to express the way they feel. Now, going back to the humanitarian side, a brother said that when Muslim people used to bring relief, they only share it with Muslims. This is wrong. You don't have to like me to say the truth about me. Do you know how many wells that the Muslim Relief Organization went around the country and built in the villages? They didn't go and build the well. They said this well for Muslims. Do you know how much food the Muslim Relief that were in Monrovia used to be there? Do you know, like the sister want to go every Ramadan? Do you know how many ship containers that the people send from Saudi Arabia and we divide around the country? We didn't care about Muslim and this, that. It went to everybody. More people came to Muslim agency in Sincor. It was not just Muslims coming there to receive relief items, including clothing. When people didn't have clothes would come from all over Middle East, and we're sharing all of that. So I think this is a fundamental error on the part of the brother. When you come to this kind of public forum, you must say the truth. You know, we don't have, yes, when you compare our Catholic Church alone, their number is equal to our number. The more than 1 billion Christians, just the Catholic alone. They've built these institutions over years and so on and so forth. They have money. They have rich institutions. So the relief that they can give to other people, we can't afford that. But guess what? The war, Red Cross and what they call Christian. Do you know how much contribution that comes from Saudi Arabia and other Muslim countries into that? Do you think they say only give to Muslims?
Yeah.
No. Red Cross. There are billions and billions of dollars coming from Saudi and other Muslim countries into that something. So Muslims don't discriminate. I said to you earlier, one of the fundamental responsibilities we have is to be able to share. That's why 5 cardinal principles, one of them, the third principle in Islam, is to establish what they call charitable institution that requires me to contribute to that charitable institution. If I don't do that, even my prayer will not be accepted.
Yes.
Imam
Ducle?
That's for another day.
Imam Ducle, or save that. You need to come on a special here so that we can go more into that.
Okay.
To our panelists, I think.
I wanted to conclude on something. Somebody said we should go to Guinea. That is very important. No, let me say this.
You don't respond to that.
No, please. It's a reawakening consciousness for all of you, everybody in America. Just imagine. Let's assume we all came. We came from Guinea. Let's assume that. Maybe we came to look for bread or maybe seek refuge. Just imagine how many thousand Liberians came from Liberia and they came to the United States. Most of them are citizens today. They are having kids here. Tomorrow morning, somebody say, go back to Liberia, you're not citizen. You are not going to court. Why would you do that to somebody who lived in the country for more than 300-400 years? Before the settlers are most Christian citizens than the people who were there and received them. Just imagine tomorrow morning they say, go back to Liberia. You're no longer a citizen here, and your children can't be a citizen here. Just imagine what kind of war you will wage here. All the money we have, we'll put it into the legal system to change that. So I just want to say this. People got to stop to point fingers, because you yourself, you're not in Liberia right now. You're in somebody else's country. Let's assume we came, which is not even the case. which is not, that's also a topic for another day that we need to deal with that.
We told you that long time.
You know,
we told you that, and you still want to deal
Iman,
with
this is
it,
the
and
way
I
you
think you
think.
have dealt with it enough, Iman. Thank you. Hey,
Thank
folks
you.
in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. And this is where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. The Muslim community is part of Liberia, and we are trying to elevate the conversation that they too need a holiday, or they are actually asking for 2 holidays in Liberia, and we need to hear from them because they are part of us. Hey, ladies and gentlemen in studio, we have dealt with the topic sufficiently. If you don't mind, we can do this again because this can be a one-day conversation. Because the idea that it is your right to have a national holiday or 2 national holidays, just as Christians do, it is something that is just fair to ask for, and that is my belief, and I hold that so strongly. And so we can do this again. We have to conclude here, and so at this time, we will ask for closing statement from each of you, and then we will draw down the curtains. As always, ladies and gentlemen, so we will start with the ladies in the house. That come to you, Ms. Salif. Is that mistress or miss?
Mistress.
Mistress Salif, please, your closing statement.
First of all, I would like to thank the hosts for giving us the opportunity to come and make our case, to create an awareness to our Liberian brothers and sisters. I would like first to establish some little facts. One, it is true that most Mandingos are Muslims. It is also true that most Bai people are Muslims. It is also true that most Liberians are Muslims. So I want everyone to be aware of that. The second thing that I want to make clear here is that Islam is a religion of peace. Okay? Muslims in Liberia have contributed to the economy, to the prosperity of the nation. We're only coming to ask for what is rightfully all Liberians. We're only asking for you guys to give us the opportunity to worship our God, to serve our God, and to have time with family and friends at the end of our major holidays, which is Eid al-Fitr, the end of Ramadan, Eid al-Adha, the Abraham Day. We're asking all Liberians, we are encouraged by the conversation that's being held today. We're encouraged that people with open mind will see what we are seeking. We're only seeking for what is humanistic of all of us, to have the time to spend with our families, to have the time to celebrate our religion, to have our children also follow in our footsteps. We thank you for giving us this platform, the opportunity to express all of this. We thank those who actually participated via phone calls and via Facebook to listen to what we have to say. Thanks to all of you guys, that we appreciate the opportunity. We look forward to coming back to make the case again. Continued awareness actually establishes change. Change is not easy. It doesn't come easily. It has to do a lot of networking, a lot of education, a lot of people being, open-minded to see what we are seeking. So I thank you guys. I thank everybody. Basiki, I thank you for actually exceeding all of my expectations and calling on me to come and be a part of this. It was informative, and I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salif. And if we have to do this again, we will definitely do that. Let's come to Ms. Cullen for your closing statement.
Yeah, so again, thank you very much, Focus Liberia, for giving us the opportunity to start this conversation. And to all the viewers, we want to say thank you very much. And to everyone that commented, even if it's for the holiday or against the holiday, we want to say thank you to every one of you. And I think for me, the feedback from this program today had, I think, given me a lot of power, or I would say, like Brad says, zeal, giving me a lot of zeal really dig into it. And with the blessings of the Sheikh Foundation, this is something that I'm going to ask, because I know who these people are. I know who the Muslim leaders are. So from today, I'm gonna try to reach out to them to see how can we go about it? Like, what's the roadblock? What's stopping us from, just putting our documentation in? What's the issue? And, just so that we can start the conversation within our own community, because I feel like once we are together within a Muslim community, getting this is a piece of cake. So, so I think the first thing would be, let's talk amongst ourselves and see what it is that we need to do to get what's ours, because this is not something that we're not demanding for this. We're not begging people for this. Like, we deserve this. And someone would say, why you didn't ask for it then? Then we didn't know that it was an issue. Like I said earlier, I didn't know it was a problem. I didn't take it as a problem, because in my household, we observed that day as a holiday. And I went to Muslim school, so I don't have, issues unlike Muslim students that went to Christian schools where they had to go to school on that day or had a test, like one of the person that commented earlier. So I really didn't experience any of those things. So I didn't know it was a problem. But now, this is up now. I think it's time that the Muslim community really get up and work towards it. And I hope they're watching. I hope they're listening. And I hope this will sort of, get them to start working towards it. So thank you again, Focus Liberia, for having us here today. And Brother Vasiki, thank you very much for getting me here, thinking about me, and, making sure that I'm on the panel. But I'm happy. And I hope in the next year or 2 years from now, this will be history, and we would say, hey, we have our holiday now, and everything will be good. Thank you.
All right. Vasiki, you will go with your closing, and we'll let the elder to be the last.
All right. Well, first of all, I would like to say to my very good friend, one of the very few good Liberians that I've come to know, Dennis Ja, thank you so much for, first of all, creating this platform for people to come and express different viewpoints on variety of issues. What makes Focus on Liberia different from all other Liberian talk shows that are so rampant all over the place now is that the diversity of issues that is being discussed here. I know the dominant conversation in the Liberian community, particularly on the Liberian talk show, is about the government, Jawia, every single day. But Focus on Liberia is quite different in the sense that it has diversity of issues that can be discussed. So that makes it a very enriching program that anybody should look forward to. So you guys that are operating that platform here, my hat off to you guys. It's great.
Thank you.
All right. The next thing I want to say, maybe it's a clarification, is that that we have schools, even though Muslim children go to Christian school, but our schools are exclusively Muslim. But I think if you look at Muslim Congress, there's one school in Liberia, Muslim school in Liberia, that have educated a lot of non-Muslim. Even President Josh Weir, at some point in his life,
we went together.
Yeah, he was a Muslim. He was a student at Muslim Congress.
Yeah,
and besides that, President Josh Weir elevation in his soccer career, it came through the assistance of a lot of Muslim brothers and sisters, particularly Mukhtar Sharif. I understand that he's the one that encouraged President Josh Weir to go to Muslim Congress. And Haji Sidibe took him to Cameroon, and the rest is history, And besides that too, when it comes to charitable donation or charitable giving, before my travel to the US, I used to work as a registrar at a Muslim clinic on Jamaica Road. In the early 90s, a revival of Islamic Heritage Clinic that provided free medical services to all people. You know, whether you were Christian, you were Muslim, hundreds of people used to come down on a weekly basis for treatment because I used to be the registrar, you know? So we didn't discriminate against people coming there, or you're not Muslim, you can't get treatment. People used to get treatment, everyone. And we used to do like first come, first serve. Not a single day a Muslim person came late and I took his position, I took a Christian person position and gave to the Muslim person. No, I didn't do that. You know, every single day, first come, first serve. Whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, we didn't discriminate against anybody in providing services to them. And the last point I want to stress too is that those that came here today and make ignorant comments, I would say it was also good. It is my belief that they will use this opportunity as a point of education for themselves. Because if you came here to say, oh, if you give them this, you know, they're going to do Boko Haram, they're going to do ASE, and there's no history of Muslims involved in violence in Liberia. You know, the war came, the war was forced upon the Muslim. Some of our brothers and sisters took arms to fight in self-defense. But we were not the first to start killing people in Liberia. You know, we've always lived peacefully. When we were harassed throughout our country, immigration checkpoint, how many times Muslim people actually, you know, carry on in a riot because they were being harassed at a checkpoint? No, we are peaceful people. And our purpose here is not to create any problem in Liberia. Because if we create a problem, we create a problem for ourselves. Mm-hmm. We all want to live in peace and harmony with our neighbors. You know, my niece is married to a Christian. She's a Christian. She and her husband is a pastor. We still welcome her in our family. So we are all one people. We are Black people. We are African people who should embrace each other beyond religion and ethnicity. That's my last point. Like the other fellows said, I'm a Pan-Africanist, and Dennis, you know that for sure. That I embrace all African people, whether you're Christians, you're Muslim, whatever you are, you're my brothers and my sisters. Thank you, and God bless.
And I believe the way to change this perception about giving, you know, because they say you don't share on your day. So I think what you can do, Fatima know where I'm going now, so I hold that. Go ahead, Imam Dukle.
Well, thank you so much, Dennis. And then also Basiki for reaching out to me and for us to be part of this all important conversation. I think it's a very good beginning, and I would hope that this will not be the last time you will call us to appear on your program. You know, quite frankly, if the call didn't come from Basiki, I would not have appeared. It's not because I have no interest, but it's because most of the talk shows, if you listen to them, it's just noise making, talking about the government. You know, Liberia, if you say we all own the country, and we have, let's identify 100 problems. Okay, you deal with one, I deal with one. Masiki deal with one, Masiba deal with one, Patu deal with one, but I deal with one. Just imagine that. You know how many problems we solve? But the question is, we always look at the government. Here in America, private citizens are doing stuff. Liberian government will not stop any one of us. So when I listen to all this stuff, so I just decided, I say, you know what, I'm not going there. And then the second thing is, I think you have a very good audience. You know, your audience, they are not insulting people because they express their feelings. I think that's a good thing you have because for me, I don't insult people because if that comes, I walk back. I have right to either be here or not to be here. But the first thing you say, we will not encourage anybody to insult our panelists. And so thank you for that. I just want to read a portion of my sermon yesterday, and it fits in this. I want you to listen to what I wrote with respect to diversity and tolerance. I'm just asking questions, and then the Liberian community members who are listening, listen to what happened around the globe. I said, what is the common denominator between the revival of historical grudges, an armed conflict that took place in the Balkans, the genocide and ethnic cleansing in Kosovo, and the alarming increase in the number of racial assaults in Western Europe. What former relationship, if any, exists between extremists or supremacist groups around the world? What was the reason for causing genocide in Chechnya? The daily violence in the Middle East, constant clashes in Kashmir, and troubles in Indonesia and Bangladesh, and other places around the world. Is there any link between the violence that targets individuals and communities in one country and discrimination against some races, colors, and religions in another country? The only immediately available answer that comes to me is intolerance and the lack of respect for diversity. Lack of respect for diversity. I say intolerance causes economic injustice, political double standards, and social oppression and repression. Intolerance is on the increase in the world today and is killing human beings on a massive scale. Intolerance raises many moral as well as political and economic questions. Intolerance is a major threat to peace and security. This issue is alarming many governments and communities around the world. So yesterday, I'm talking about yesterday, this was my sermon without even thinking that some of those issues would come up here. So I would hope that we all will embrace each other as Liberians. I don't see Muslims, I don't see Christians, I don't see Buddhists, Hindus, Toro, Sunday. I see people. And that's what Allah commanded us. It say, Allah himself say, وَلَقَدْ كَرَمْنَا بَنِي Adam. It say, indeed, we have honored the sons and daughters of Adam, period. It is the Muslims, it is the Christians or Jewish. So for me, this is a fundamental teaching for me in Islam. I look at people, I look at their values and so on and so forth.
Person's first perspective.
I will hope that all the Liberian people will see their fellow Liberians as Liberians, not as Muslim, not as Christian, or not as non-Muslim or traditionalist, or whatever it is. So thank you so much for inviting us. And inshallah, next time we'll come and make more of our case. At this time, maybe we'll talk to some of our brothers because we're not able to talk to our brothers on the ground. And maybe they have some points that they can share with us, and then we'll be able to further strengthen our case. I hope we have made our case this evening. And inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless us and bless you for hosting this and bringing this awareness to our community. So thank you so much.
Amen.
Thank you so very much. On that note, folks in cyberspace, my name is Anthony Sie. My partner here is Dennis Jah. This is how we draw down the curtains, and it's over to you, Mr. Jah. Bye-bye to you, panelists.
Well, thank you all for coming. We enjoyed the conversation, and please come back if you have anything that you want to get off your chest, or just to come and share with us. And don't forget now to really tell us that you can share. Don't forget my meet on Abraham Day. Until then, my name is Dennis Jah, wishing you all
so funny.
a good night. Let's remember now, we are all Liberians.
Thank
you.
Good
That.
night. Bye.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Assalamu alaikum.
Merhaba. Cool. How about Islam or your